Her name was Gussie Brock. But to the members of her Unitarian congregation, she was simply and lovingly known as Gussie the Viking. As my colleague Robert Fulgham, her one-time minister, tells it, long ago, her Norse ancestors migrated west in open wooden longboats across the North Atlantic to settle in Iceland in the 9th century. The restless gene in Viking blood must have remained potent because when Canada opened the Western prairies to homesteaders after World War I, Gussie's family left Reykjavik and immigrated to Alberta to settle near Medicine Hat on the South Saskatchewan River. They dug in on raw land, built a sod house, and went to work farming. They lived in harsh country through mean winters, hot summers, relentless winds, and drought. It was a tough life in hard times, matched by strong people. Yet somehow they hung on, but just barely. Many Christmases ago, Fulgham asked the members of his congregation to share holiday stories from their lives, which he planned to compile into his Christmas Eve sermon. Look out, it's a good idea. The one that moved him most was Gussie's. Looking back almost 80 years, she said the following: "Life was so desperate out there on the prairies, and we were so poor that the most we could ever expect for Christmas was to be alive, warm, and with something to eat. The worst Christmas of all came after a week of heavy snow. Firewood was scarce. We were burning dried cow pies for heat and huddling together in a heap under all our blankets in all our clothes to keep from freezing to death. We were living off boiled potatoes and turnips, and it looked like there might not be enough to last until spring. On that Christmas morning, my father got up and made a fire as usual. He was a solemn, stubborn, hard-working man. We knew he loved us, but like most Icelanders, he didn't express his feelings openly. It took all he had just to keep us alive. But he did that with all of his heart and all of his soul and strength. My mother was ill, too sick to get up or to eat. When Father called us kids to the fire, we didn't expect much, least of all gifts. But as we crawled sleepy-eyed and shivering out of bed, we stopped, astonished. For there in the dim light, we saw on the table an orange, a single orange on a white napkin. We were dumbstruck. An orange, out here in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of winter, an honest-to-God orange, glowing in the dim light like a golden ball. Merry Christmas, he said. The orange is for you all. We wondered, how on earth did he get that orange? Where and when and how long had he had it? It was a 2 days ride on horseback to the railroad line, 3 days to the nearest village. He was surely capable of doing something like that, but we wanted details. We begged him to tell us, but all he would say was that it was a miracle. And we might as well believe, because there it was. We sat still as he so carefully peeled the orange and divided the sections to give each child an equal share, along with pieces of the peel. The smell filled the room. Our mouths watered in anticipation. We were almost afraid to touch the miracle in front of us. And then, oh my, what a moment, we began to eat the orange, the juice dripping on our fingers and down our chins. I can still taste it. It was the sweetest thing I have ever eaten. But then my oldest brother suddenly said, "Wait." He pointed at Dad. We saw that Dad had given all of the orange to us, the children, every bit, leaving none for himself. So my brother took a knife and cut a piece of his orange and placed it in front of our father, and the rest of us did the same. Our father divided his share in 2 parts. These these are for your mother when she's well," he said. And then we watched as slowly, like a man taking Holy Communion, he ate his share of the orange. It was the only time I ever saw my father cry. As the years went by, the story of the orange became a family legend told by the generations. The kids always said the orange was the finest gift they ever got. But Father said it was different for him. He said his best Christmas present ever was the moment when his children noticed that he was without and gave back to him part of what he had given to them. I suspect we all have our own oranges. At least I hope that each of us has gathered up the moments of our lives that tell of gifts freely given, gifts gratefully received, and gifts shared from the abundance of our own being. Those unexpected moments that enrich our lives because we never really saw them coming. What Gussie's father called a miracle, what some might define as grace, or what we might simply see as love in action. But the only miracle behind that improbable orange was the love of a parent who carried in his very human hands across the hard odds of an Alberta winter to place it on the table for those whom he loved. That orange was nothing less than an act of devotion, and Gussie and her siblings knew it. And led by that love, they responded in kind. It is a powerful parable. And it causes me to wonder what oranges have touched your life and maybe even changed its course. What acts of kindness or grace or gratitude have so moved your heart that the only meaningful response you could make with your life was to give back something of yourself? Often I find that when I ask people why they do what they do in the world, there's usually some sort of orange in the story. The mention of a mentor who inspired them beyond what they had thought were their limits. The kindness of a stranger who in a moment of need changed everything. Or the precious opportunity they would never have had it not come wrapped up in someone else's sacrifice. Whatever the moments you might name, I believe they are worth paying attention to because very often these are the defining moments of all of our days on this earth, the ones that give shape to how we answer questions at the heart of being human. Are we living our lives in service to others and the greater good? Are we known not only for being generous, but for a generosity of spirit? In how we spend our days, are we striving to repay the debt of gratitude we owe for the great gift of life itself? I pose such personal and prying questions because they are the ones that will matter most in the end, the ones that will cause us to look back either with satisfaction or regret, the ones by which the meaning of our lives will ultimately be measured. But lest answering for our lives causes any of us to despair, let us not forget that the sun rose again this morning and we with it, to take hold of another day and to make of it what we will. Today is what we have, and though we might wish it were otherwise, nothing more is ever promised to any of us. The sober truth has always been that we make a life out of what we do with our days. And that is why our oranges matter. Because so much of what we make of ourselves on this path through life is an unfolding response to whatever has come our way, the improbable blessings and the bitter heartbreak too. And at every point along the way, we face a choice to decide what we will make of it all, to decide what will garner our life's precious energy and attention, to decide whether we will be consumed with life's hardness or with an abiding appreciation for life's bittersweet turns with all of their mayhem and miracle and mystery too. Over and again through each of our lives, we have been given oranges. We can call them different things: education, a stretch of good health, unconditional love, a roof over our heads, or the affection of our nearest and dearest. But they are all oranges, placed on the altar of our hearts. So we must ask ourselves, how can we possibly repay such good fortune? How can we give back from what we have been given? How can we respond to the gift of life that has been ours from the day that we were born? The answer is that we give back something of ourselves. We build temples of the heart that we might make a difference in the lives of others and in ways that may endure after we are long gone. Such temples of the heart are built out of gratitude and generosity. In other words, they are built out of oranges. So I invite you to take a moment now to reflect on a particularly meaningful orange in your life, some gift or blessing you've received without earning or deserving it. Take a moment now. If you want to change your life and this world for good, make the connection between your gratitude and the ways that you give of yourself, not just today, but every day, knowing that the work of the world is far beyond what any one of us can do, but within reach if we all do our part. In that spirit, I leave you with these words from the remarkable Oscar Romero, the Archbishop of San Salvador, who was assassinated while presiding over the Mass because of his outspoken support for the poor. This is what we are about. We plant seeds that will one day grow. We water seeds that are already planted, knowing that they hold future promise. We lay foundations that will need further development. We provide the yeast that produces effects beyond our capabilities. We cannot do everything, and there is a sense of liberation in realizing that. This enables us to do something and to do it very well. It may be incomplete, but it is a beginning, a step along the way, an opportunity for grace to enter and to do the rest. We may never see the end results, for we are prophets of a future not our own. And so we are. Blessed be.